Hello everyone and welcome back to another video here from our Clever Photographer headquarters. I hope you're having a great day. I hope you're enjoying your Thursday, and I'm very happy to see you back at our Clever Photographer YouTube channel or wherever you're watching this video. We are broadcasting this live on our YouTube channel at Clever Photographer, also our Clever Photographer Facebook page, and our Clever Photographer Academy Facebook group. Anyway, if you've never seen me before, my name is Jacob Bors, and I'm a professional photographer based in West Sussex, England. I'm also part of the Clever Photographer team. And with this live video, we coming to you to talk to you more about the new Luminar NEO update. I'm sure you know, and if you don't yet, Skylum released a new update today with the number 1.12.0, which is heavily focusing on their new Panorama Stitching extension. There are some other news coming with it, and I will cover all of them in this live session. However, to be honest, Panorama Stitching is the main thing and the main point of this update. So it came out today around 5 o'clock UK time. So this is about 3 hours ago. Of course, as always, I keep an eye on the update videos and posts. And so far, I haven't really noticed any reports of people having difficulty downloading and updating the software. So that's always good to know. So just to start, if you have any questions in regarding of Luminar NEO, if you have any questions about the new update, if you have any questions about the Panorama Stitching extension, please make sure that you write them in the comments, and I will be very happy to answer them throughout this live feed. We're going to be here for about 20-25 minutes, maybe half an hour, depends how many questions I'm going to see. And once again, I'm going to try to answer as many questions as possible. Now, since we are waiting, I'm going to start talking to you more about the update and about the extension. And one more time, big invitation. If you have any question, write them in the comments. So the new update 1.12.0, I think it's been like 2 or 3 weeks since the last update. The last update was very much focusing on performance of the application. So this one is really bringing the big feature, and that's the Panorama Stitching. We will look at the Panorama Stitching in a moment. In the meantime, let's talk about some of the other parts of the update. So let me just quickly open the document where I have all the notes for the update. And once I get it right here, we can talk a little bit further. So we were promised again better performance when it comes to the software. The text is mentioning that Skylum updated the internal AI library to make the photo editing experience even smoother. And also we should be enjoying more stable editing when it comes to these features that are really resource consuming, and we're talking about features and tools like Super Sharp AI and Relight AI. So those are some of the performance features. And now we're gonna move, of course, to the Panorama Stitching. Let's quickly jump into comments before we're gonna do that. I have a question from Peter. Let's have a look at it. Peter, after installing this update, Luminar crash on use AI functions in edit, face, skin, body, and others, or on open last edited images. Well, I have the new version open here, so let's double check it, Peter. Let's see if I can find a portrait image. Let me just quickly grab one, and we can check it right here. So portrait, this one, and I will import one portrait image, and we can check that. So opening now, and let's move into the edit module. And in edit module, once the image loads, we're gonna go into the portrait section. Let me just hide this and let me make the screen a little bit bigger. And once we get there, And of course, that when you want to do it live, it's gonna get delayed. So let's have a look. We back. So going into the portrait section, and in your comment, you mentioned face, skin, and body. So let's go into the face AI, and for example, try to use the face light, and that seems to be working. Now the slim face will take a moment, but looking at it, it's working too. After you mentioned skin and body, so let's try the skin. Let's see if we can apply the amount, and that seems to be working too. So I don't see the issue on my side, Peter. So the question, my first question when it comes to resolving these issues would be, what platform you're using? Are you working on Mac or Windows? And obviously, then we could go further and see if we could resolve that. However, as you just saw, trying to edit it in the portrait section, I can't really see the same issue you're talking about. Windows 11, so maybe it could be Windows. I don't have a way to test it right here on live. However, if you have this case, so obviously one option is to contact the support. And another option, another thing you can try is to reinstall the application. There's always two ways to do it. One, you basically just reinstall the application by downloading the update, or the second one is to basically delete it and reinstall it again. This is something that we apply when the update isn't going right. So for that, you would have to go to skylum.com, log in with your profile, go to My Software, and download the software from there and install it again. Anyway, you saw that that's not the same for everyone, and we can continue. Once again, if anybody has a question about Luminar NEO, about the update, or about the Panorama Stitching, make sure you write them in the comments. So while we have done that, we're gonna move into the Panorama Stitching. Now, first come first, how do you get Panorama Stitching? Well, if you're a new user to Luminar NEO, you maybe don't understand the concept of the extensions. The extensions are paid features which you basically pay extra fee to get them into Luminar NEO. So the benefit of it is that you can choose which one you're going to use. For example, stuff like focus stacking, or maybe upscale, or even HDR merge is quite specific for the type of photography you do. So you just choose which one you want and go for it. Panorama Stitching is exactly the same. And the way to get it, you can buy it as an individual extension. And currently, I think it is for about $39. And then obviously with the currency exchange, wherever you are, that's how much it costs to buy it. Once you buy it, you come into Luminar NEO and install it. So you can buy the individual extension. The second option on what you can do is to buy the whole extension pack. And in that way, you will get all the 8 extensions with the HDR merge, focus stacking, upscale AI, panorama stitching, magic light, background removal, super sharp AI, noiseless AI, and I'm on 8. So those are all part of the pack. You can buy them all together. Or additionally, for those who would want to, or for those who want to just test the software for a short period of time, I think if you want to test it, it's always a great idea just to subscribe for 1 month. And all you need to do is to subscribe with their Pro or Ultimate license for 1 month. And that way you will get access to all the extensions and the software. Anyway, this is how you get it. So you buy it individually, you buy it as a part of the pack, or you subscribe to the Pro or Ultimate subscription. Now, moving on about how you install it. So once you get it, once you purchase it, or once you obtain it as a part of your subscription, you update your software. And I'm sure you all know, you just update it by using the Luminar NEO check for updates. And once you update it, you go into the extras in the top right corner of the screen. Make sure that you are in extensions, and then just install it from here. Panorama Stitching extension. Next to it, there would be install button. You click on that, and once it's installed, it will show you that it's installed. You can close it, and it will appear in the bottom corner of the left bar or toolbar. So this is where it is now, right under the upscale, focus stacking, and HDR merge. And this is where we're going to be using it. Now, if you can't see this toolbar at all, the chance is that it's hidden. And you can actually hide it with this little icon in the top right corner. And when you click on it, it will appear again. From probably about a month ago, you can now also collapse the extensions, and to open them and close them, you just have to click on them, just like on the rest of the tools in Edit module. Now, let's go, before we're going to continue and try to create first panorama, let's go into the questions again. Okay, so there is one from Facebook here. Sometimes it takes a while to create thumbnails in a catalog, not just on the first try, but later as well, as if Neo is recreating everything from the scratch, although the thumbnails should be already available. Really wish they would fix that. I agree with you, actually. Obviously, there are ways to avoid this. It depends where you have your catalog and where are your images. So and what kind of hard drives you're using for them. So that makes a little bit different. But I agree with you that once you start to import lots of images into catalog, sometimes it really takes a little bit longer. So I agree. Sometimes it's a little bit frustrating, and especially when you're going through large number of the images. Definitely something that we hope to see in the future, that is going to be fixed and improved, because as a photographers, I take on average maybe 40, 50,000 images a year. And, when you put them all into the application, it gets really overwhelming and difficult to sometimes search through it. So I agree, and I hope that we're going to see improvement on that front. Looking at another comment, this time from Neil. I have the window to install the update, but as per usual, it won't install. This keeps on happening to myself, and support does know about my issue. Neil, I'm sorry to hear that. The update can be a little bit tricky, although I have to say that when it works, it's quite incredible, because it really is just question of few clicks. You basically just click on the update, then you click, it downloads, reinstall, and depending on the speed of your internet, it takes, I would say, 10 minutes maximum, probably not even 10 minutes, 5 minutes, and the application is ready to be used. So I understand that if it doesn't work, it can be really frustrating. I wonder, how do you get around updating it? Do you always have to download the new version from the website and install it again, or what's the way, or what's the workflow for you to update the software? That would be really interesting to know. So I'm sorry to hear that you're having difficulty with it. Now, in the next message, Neil is saying that after shutting Neo down, it decided to update. That seems to be the case sometimes, that things just appear randomly, and it's a shame. So I hope you're going to be able to. I hope you're going to be able to install it fine now. Now, moving on and keeping up with the panorama stitching. So with the panorama stitching, following the other extensions, it's really simple to use. I have some images here, so let's jump into them. Let's see if we can maybe use those. We have 15 images here. I captured them a few days ago. And all we're gonna do is we're gonna take them and drag and drop them onto the extension. It's really simple as that. Once you let go, they load into the preview window and they're gonna stay there. You can scroll through them with the little arrows. You can also delete them by clicking on the cross in the little white circle. However, this is where your images are going to be. Before you start the panorama stitching, I think it's a good idea to always double check the setting of the extension. And to do that, just click on this little circle with the 3 dots. Once you do that, there are multiple different options here. The first 3, to be honest, I can't really imagine the reason why you wouldn't use them, because by checking all these 3 checks, you will make sure that you adjust the distortion correction from your lens or camera. You will take care of the vignetting or devignetting, and you will also apply the chromatic aberration reduction. When you have the edges with the green and purple on them, this will help to reduce them. So always, before you start to stitch your images together, make sure that these 3 options are checked on. Additionally, there is an option for the ghost reduction, and this is very handy for HDR panoramas. You know, when you're creating brackets, and even more so for panorama, when you're creating bracketed images for panorama stitching, and there is a movement in them, like cars, people, waves, whatever, then the ghosting reduction or ghost reduction will help to reduce it. So when you're editing HDR images here, you just switch it on, you select the reference image, you apply the amount, it depends what you prefer, and that's it. Additionally, there is an option to remove all the images here. However, since we don't want to do that, we click away. And now since we have everything set, we just click on start. Now, this will then start to stitch the images together. It takes a moment, and as you can see, I'm already on the first window. Now, there will be a difference between the windows you're going to see for video panoramas and photography panoramas, but since now we're working on the photos, let's focus on this. So this is the first window you're going to see, and this is where you take care of a transformation of the image. So you make sure that everything is in line, everything is straight, it's rotated right, and so on. Initially, I would suggest you to start by adjusting the projection. So when you go to the bottom left corner of this window, you will see that right now we have 5 options when it comes to projection. By default, the spherical is selected. However, we also have an option between cylindrical. Now, Mercator, or I have over the last 7 days heard countless different ways to pronounce this. So I will not go for it. However, there is an option for that, plain and fish eye. So you can play around with this as much as you want. We are creating a full tutorial on explaining exactly how does it work, how they project it, which one is for which, and it will be really helpful, and it would take us forever to take care of it here. So go through them, see what you like the most, select it, and then continue. So let's go back to spherical projection. Once we're there, we can then take care of the alignment. So what you do is you can rotate the image in the corner of it. After that, you can zoom in. You can zoom in with your mouse, just scrolling, or you can use the little plus minus sign on the actual tool. After that, once you zoom in, you can actually drag the image around and just basically make sure that everything is straight and looks as natural as possible. Once you're happy with the result, and once you're happy with what you see, all you need to do is to click on continue. Now it will basically take the transformation in account and prepare another preview for cropping. Now I see the images coming, and I will come to them in a moment. Let's just finish this one panorama. So the next window is all about cropping. If you've done any editing in your life at all, you will be very familiar with it. Obviously, you just use the handles in a corner, and when you drag them around, you can see there is a little overlay where you can see the pixel size of the image. Now, when I do something like this, I want to point that the tool now has the auto crop option. And basically what it does, when you click on it down here in a corner, it stretches the panorama across as much as possible. So basically it avoids making a panorama where there is no space or no data or no image, and just stretches it across. After that, you can leave it or you can adjust it further. I like the panorama to be really panorama or really wide. So something like this. This way also we get the main tower in this third. And once I'm happy with it, all I'm going to do is to click on crop. After that, the final window before you stitch everything together is right here. It's a preview of what you created. And if you're happy, you just click on save. Additionally, if you want to adjust something, you just click on a little arrow in the bottom left corner and you continue adjusting. Now, once we're ready, we just click on save. Usually it takes a few seconds. There is a little window saying that the image must be bigger than 256 on 256 pixels. This, I think, is an error at the moment. However, once you click, it actually shows you the new panorama. Now, similarly to HDR merge, upscale, and focus stacking, the panorama stitching creates a folder. and the folder appears in the folder section of your catalog toolbar. So you just go there, Panorama Stitching, and the image is appearing there. When I click a space bar, it actually appears and it's all ready. Now, just before I answer the questions, I want to mention two important things. Number one, if you apply edits to the images before you put them into the Panorama Stitching, these edits will be removed. So any editing you're going to do, make it after you stitch it together. Second thing, the exported file, the new Panorama, is in TIFF format. I did some testing to it. It has a very good quality, but it's good for you to know that it will be in TIFF format. And this is why, when you start creating the Panorama together, it's really important that you select the three options in the settings, because those are the options you can apply later on. So always make sure that the distortion correction, devignette, and chromatic aberration reduction is on. And then once you export the image, just continue in a edit module, working on the high quality TIFF file. So out of that, let's move to some of the questions. Nutin, thank you very much for lovely message. I'm glad you enjoying the videos. It's my pleasure. And as always, if you have any idea on tutorial or specific video or something you would like to learn, write in the comments of the video, or you can always send us email directly to info@cleverphotographer, and we will be really happy to, if there is lots of interested in it, to help you out, answer maybe privately, and if we get lots of questions or lots of ideas for videos, then we create them. So thank you for the comment. Now, looking at Facebook user, obviously, sometimes the names don't come over. However, the person saying that they just stitch 8 photos and it works perfectly. Well, that's great to hear. We have just stitched together 15 of them and it worked quite well too. So thank you for that. Now, looking at Rick. Rick, I had a problems updating in Windows 10 until I run the program as administrator. Then it worked. Rick, that's a great tip. Thank you very much for sharing this with us. Especially, I'm thinking about Neil, who was mentioning earlier that he has issues updating the software. So this is a great tip and good idea. So running the application as an administrator is a way to go. Great. Now, looking further, Nutin, another question, not related to the update. NEO seems to struggle with rendering Fuji, especially the blues. Selecting the camera profile doesn't help. NEO pales in comparison to Capture One. Is NEO working on this? So I went on a conference or meeting, which took 6 days, with the Luminar team, and there were lots of other photography professionals from around the world, and there was actually a representative from Fujifilm there as well, and we had a conversation about it. And the truth is that it's a little bit difficult to communicate with Fuji. They are quite close on when it comes to sharing access to certain data. However, I was asked that anytime somebody noticed something wrong with the Fuji images, so like a specific example you just mentioning that maybe the blue doesn't look blue, they ask me to get example of it or sample image and send it over. So Nutin, if you have a specific example where the color doesn't look right, if you could send it over to me with a quick message, I will be very happy to share it. And more of this we share with the team, then they will be able to work on it and improve it in the future. If you want to send it over, you can send it directly to me, jacob@borsphoto.com, or you can send it to the office at info@cleverphotographer.com. So I will be very happy to look into it. It's definitely something we're discussing. I know that camera profile for the Fuji has been a little bit of a struggle, so I agree with you, and I hope that we can this way keep moving forward. Now, moving forward, we have a message from Gerard. Hi, Jacob, thanks for your videos. Does the panorama stitching works with the Brenneser method? Now, Gerard, I will not pretend that I know what Brenneser method is. So let me just quickly open. So very quickly opening, first thing, as you can imagine, is the Wikipedia, which says that Brennison method, sometimes referred to as a bokeh panorama or bokerama, that's cool, is a photographic technique characterized by creation of digital image exhibiting a shallow depth of field in a tandem with a wide angle of the view. Now, I wouldn't be able to tell you, Gerard, I'm really sorry because I haven't tested it. However, if you do have images with this specific style, if you have one panorama with this specific style, once again, you can send them over to us, info@cleverphotographer.com, and we will be very happy to test it for you. And then we can have a chat and see if we can maybe test more and see what the result is. So thank you very much for bringing that up. That's very interesting subject and definitely something I will also look into. So thank you for that, Gerard. So we have created first photography panorama. Now let's have a look at the video panorama. Now, when they released the news about the video panorama, I was basically thinking about what's the case or when would you use such a thing, because us as a photographers, when we go somewhere, especially landscape photographers, we take our time, capturing the scene. We take our time to set the camera, make sure everything is set right, and not necessarily in a huge rush. But then I was thinking, when I was in London a few weeks back, I was thinking I was in a place where there was such a cool view with definitely set for panorama, and I didn't have a camera with me. And or another time, it was the end of the photo shoot, everything was already packed, and the light was moving so fast that I had no time to build it up. So those moments, I think that's when you can really quickly pull out your phone, set it up to the highest possible quality, and take a video of that panorama. Now, after that, you can just load it into Luminar NEO and create panorama out of it. So for that specific reason, as question of maybe places where you don't carry your camera with you or you don't have a time to set it up, I understand to it. However, I'm still a huge fan of photography panorama, and for me, that will stay the main classic. But it's a neat possibility, and of course, that you're not gonna tell them no when they offer another feature in the same tool. So, video panorama. Let's jump into it. Let's select one video if we have it somewhere here. If I can find it, there is one right here. And let's just drag and drop it onto the Panorama Stitching. So compared to the photography, now you can see that we only have the one video with the video or movie icon in the bottom corner. With the video panoramas, when you click on the settings, you will see that none of them are available. So they are not available for the video panoramas, so we don't worry about them. After this, we click on Start, and compared to the photography, the first window is all about adjusting your video. We have the preview of the video right here. Then we have the traditional video controls, just play and pause, and then to the beginning of the video and end of the video. After that, we have it to time texts or time counts. First one basically show you wherever your playhead is, and second amount will show you how long is the actual video. When we focus on the timeline itself, you can adjust it by dragging these little handles in each of the corners or each of the sides, and you can push your timeline around just by simply clicking on a specific spot on the video. One thing I would like to see here, if we really want to be that specific for specific frames, would be the possibility to just have a little button here where I can move frame by frame, just one frame at a time. So that would be one thing I would hope to see. The whole idea when you're creating the panorama here is to basically adjust the beginning of the panorama, and that would be like your beginning in a first image, and then end of the panorama, and again, that would be the last image of the panorama right here. Once you're happy with it, all you need to do is to click on Continue. Now, it will take its time, it will load the video, it will take all the images out and basically create the preview of the panorama for us to be able to transform it. since it needs a little bit of time, let's turn our attention back to the questions. Peter, let's have a look what we have here. Peter, it probably doesn't belong here, but Luminar lacks of file variant function a lot, one raw file, but different edits. For example, a color, black and white version on the same image. I'm trying to figure out what exactly you mean by that, but I'm thinking maybe similar feature which is in Lightroom Classic, where you can create a virtual copy. So basically you have the one image and then you just create virtual copy where you apply different edit, and then you create another copy and you apply the edit without having to have the 3 files, if I'm understanding right. And I completely agree with you. Sometimes I do testing with different edits, especially when I'm creating presets for Luminar NEO. And it would be great to be able to have one image, create 4 virtual copies, and then just basically apply different presets to them and being able to very quickly compare them between each other. I think that would be really handy, and I 100% agree with you. I think that would speed up the process a lot. Let's have a look. Some raw but different edits like Zoner Photo Max, for example. I don't really know Zoner Photo Studio X, but I wonder if what I just described is the case. If that's what you're talking about. Now, looking at another question before we're going to continue. One question from Norma. Will you do a video on how to set our iPhone for capturing the best video to use for panorama stitching? Definitely, Norma. We will definitely do that. And that's actually the next in line into our panorama mini series. So yes, we will show you how to capture a video for this type of panorama, so for the traditional one. And then also in the same episode, we will show you how to capture the new panorama where you can select the subject. So that is video which is definitely coming. And I think probably it's going to be live on Monday or Tuesday next week. So thank you for your question. This tutorial is definitely coming up. In the meantime, if any of you need help capturing traditional panoramas, we also have a full tutorial on how to do that, which came live yesterday. And if you want, you're more than welcome to check it out on our YouTube channel. So thank you for the question, Norma. It's coming soon. So coming back to our panorama stitching, we have edited the video, selected the parts we wanted, and now we are into the same window you have seen earlier. If you have been here, basically the window where you transform the image. Once again, you start by adjusting the projection. The options are again spherical, cylindrical, and so on. For us, let's try different options. This, I think the cylindrical, stretch it a little bit too high. Now the Mercator, let's have a look. It's quite decent as well. The plane actually doesn't look that bad. I was thinking that it's gonna do lots of distortions on side, but not necessarily. But I think the spherical to start with is looking the best. Now zooming in and checking the alignment, I think everything look quite decent. The buildings are straight and the water level too. So if we're happy with this, actually we can move on just by clicking on continue. And you already know the next window, that's where we're gonna do the cropping. So we know about the auto crop, that you can click on it and it will crop the image for you. But for us, for this example, we're just gonna do like a super wide panorama, something like this. And once we're happy, we just click on crop. Now, looking at it, I think it's a little bit too cropped at the bottom. So let's go back and adjust it. Now, one thing I notice here is once you crop it and you move into the next window, when you come back, the crop you have created earlier disappear. I think that's a shame. I would wish that it would stay the same. So that's just something maybe we need to share with the team. So again, crop and then save. Once it's exported, it will go into the same file as the photography panoramas into the panorama stitching folder in folders section. It is right here and we can look at it. And as you can see, it's looking cool. So this is panorama created out of video. Now, some technical data or some testing we have made with Video Panorama. So we have tried to use up to 8K video for it, and it managed. So that's not a problem. I haven't found a limitation on the size of the video. So anything from your HD all the way to 8K works quite well. To be honest, once you get above 4K, the quality of the result of the Panorama haven't changed really that much. So I think once you set your phone to 4K, it doesn't change that much. Equally, we have done some testing with capturing Panorama with portrait and landscape view. And once again, I have to say for the video, it didn't make much difference. Yes, of course, for capturing photography panoramas, that made big difference. You always want to capture in portrait mode because you will have more data and you will be able to play more with the crop. However, for the video, it really didn't seem to make that big difference. So size of the video and then the mode, portrait or landscape. Now, similarly to the photos and photography panorama, the result, the image again is in TIFF format. And once you have it here, really all you need to do is to then use one of the presets. And we have a new preset bundle, which is called Essential Panoramas. I actually created this collection specifically for these TIFF files. So if you want to find out more about it, you can check it out on our website at cleverphotographer.com, as it is part of our Luminar NEO Essential Preset Bundle. If you already own the bundle, you will get this for free. All you need to do is to head to our website, log in there, and download it from your purchased product. So you can apply preset, or you can go into the edit and start editing here. You know, the usual development and so on. Now, coming back to our questions, let's see if we have something there. It doesn't seem so. So I think we are now 37 minutes in. Now, I'm going to create the video panorama where we're going to be using the selective subject. This will probably take us another 5, maybe 10 minutes. So in the meantime, if you do have any questions still for the new update, for the 1.12.0, or if you have any questions about the Panorama Stitching extension, or if you have any questions about Luminar NEO, make sure you write them in the comments. Now it's your time to shine, and I will be more than happy to answer it. Once we finish with the panorama created with the selective subject, then I think we will be finishing the video. So to create it, we need a different video. The idea of the video you are looking for is that there is a subject which is basically moving through it. On the top of it, you want an image where the subject is moving and the whole video is panning, you know, to create the panorama view. So in this case, it works really well because we have the subject arriving and then the camera follows him through the scene, which will work super well. So what we're going to do, we're just going to take this image and drag and drop it on the Panorama Stitching. Again, just click on Start and go straight into the video editing scene here. Now, once we click on a custom object composition in the bottom left corner, we will get another new timeline here, or a line. This will now allow us to mark a specific frames and mark the specific subject. So let's say that we're gonna go right here. This is quite interesting scene where he's jumping up. And now, when I look at the timeline, you can see that our playhead has the little square with a white cross over it, or white plus sign. When I click on it, it will give us this little frame, which now we can adjust and use it a little bit like cropping to select the subject. You don't have to go too wide around, however, give it a little bit of space. After this, we can continue and move the subject further. So let's say we're going to go somewhere here. And once we're happy with the position, we can click on a plus sign again. So again, we're going to use this little overlay to select the subject. And once we're happy with it, something like this, we're going to click on, no, we're not going to click, we're going to move on forward again. Moving forward, somewhere around here, when he's sliding around us, again, we can click on a plus sign and you already seen this. So just stretching it around. And finally, when we move even further, let's say towards the end, somewhere around here, we can click on the plus sign again. And for the last time, select the subject. So once we happy with it and adjust it, all we need to do is to click on continue. Now, this part takes a little bit of extra time because obviously there is more work involved in it. The application has to scan through the images and try to build a panorama around these specific subjects. However, I think the result is really interesting. Now, it will take a little bit of playing around and adjusting, definitely. It will bring maybe some future updates to make the whole process a little bit easier. But if you in this type of photography and you want to try something creative, I think this is a great way to do it. So I wouldn't completely throw it overboard. I think it's something that will progress and that will be really interesting, specifically for some kinds of photography. Now, looking at it, obviously this example give us or show us what exactly we were creating. So looking at it, you can see this looks good. This as well, although we have the shadow here, which is a little bit distorted. Then we have leftover of the shadow from the previous frame. And then we have the person here. And also, because I didn't pay attention too much to the overlap, you can see that they are basically overlapping at some point, and it creates this distortion. So the way to work with it now would be go back one step and basically see if we can adjust it. So let's say that we create one frame here, and then, of course, then see if we can adjust this. Actually, on the last version, I was able to delete this point, but now, yes, so you just need to use backspace for that. So you select the point and you just use a backspace on it or delete. So we just create one frame a little bit earlier. Let's have a look. I think maybe here. Yep. And we click on continue. So let's reload the image and see if that's going to help. Again, it's going to take a little bit of time, but this is basically the workflow. You go back and forward between the image and the video, and you try to figure them out around so it looks as best as possible. Now, just looking at the people and the amount of still photographers and people from across the internet who are watching, I wonder if any one of you can think of an example on how would you use this feature, and if you can already think of how you could implement it in your workflow. If you want, you can still write in a comment to let me know if you have any idea on how you would like to use it. I spoke with a friend and now it gives us a problem. So I spoke with a friend who is a wedding photographer, and he was really excited about this feature because he really thought that that could be something that he could use and play around with. However, doesn't matter. We are running a little bit out of time. So let's have a look at one example on what you can get. So obviously, when you really play around and make sure that everything looks good, you should get something like this. Again, you need to work a little bit with the shadows and so on, but I think it gives you a good example of what you can get. Folks, no questions anymore. So thank you very much to all of you for joining me. This is something what we're going to try to do as much as possible. As long as we know about the update, we will always coming for half an hour, 45 minutes, trying to help you with anything you may need. Talk a little bit more about what the update brings, what are some of the new features, and answer any of your questions. So definitely look out for these live videos. We can't wait to do them. And in the meantime, make sure that you stay safe. Have a lots of fun with your photography this summer or winter, wherever you are. And thank you very much for joining me. Take care and bye-bye.